Hello, I'm Gwen Marshall, and this is the Triangle Agency on the High XP Society, and welcome. I will be your general manager today, running a new adventure of Triangle Agency with these lovely people on the High XP Society channel we're launching with this episode. So what I'd like to do first is introduce myself and the other people, talk a little bit about the game we're going to be playing, and then dive in. My name is Gwen. I am the general manager for this game. I have a tabletop history that's mostly in publishing and authoring, but some streaming as well. I will be running this game, and we will have two casts. This is the first cast, if you will, the Fractal Shift, and then our other one is the Quantum Shift, which will be in the second half, or rather the first half of the month, starting on April Fool's Day. Not a joke. So what I'd like to do now is introduce our cast. Let's go ahead and start with Barb.
Hi, I am Barb Bond. I'm an actor and a stage and voice actor, and I'm the founder of High XP Society. High XP Society is a place for people to come play RPGs and enjoy RPGs. We're a community of marginalized players, mostly over the age of 40, hence we have High XP. So really excited to launch the channel today and really excited that Triangle Agency is what we're doing.
Fantastic. How about Jessiye?
My name is Jessiye. I dabble in GMing a lot, involved in a lot of nonprofit work and advocacy work. And I sometimes play too, and I'm playing in this. And yeah.
Welcome. How about Shannon?
I am Shannon. You can find me pretty much all over the internet at ImagineIf. I am AGINIF and the ImagineIf Media channel. I host Creator Spotlight. I host Challenge Accepted with Casper up there, you'll see and you'll hear from a second. And you can also find me playing Raven on Superhero Shenanigans over on Don't Kill My Character RPGs.
Cool. Well, let's go ahead and go to Casper.
Osio, I'm Casper the MV Ghost. I'm a Black Cherokee sapphic writer of sci-fi, fantasy, and horror that plays and produces tabletop RPGs and getting into other kinds of gaming too. I haunt any channel that lets me in, so that's why I'm here. But yeah, I hang out with Shannon. I was on Tabletop Titties for a while. Yeah, I also stream when I remember. It's a beautiful ADHD life I live.
Wonderful. All right, and then that leaves us last, but definitely not least, with Winnie.
All right, hi, I am Winnie. I am a voice actor, a tabletop player, and a writer and poet. So just real excited to play.
Fantastic. All right, so we are playing Triangle Agency, which is a wonderful new game from Haunted Table. And it is a modern RPG, horror, occult, investigation, corporate satire, naturally. And we will be kind of exploring it together. This will be our first time playing and running this game here with all of you. So what I'd like to do next is introduce our characters. So what will happen is this will be the first mission that our new team, our Quantum Shift, or Fractal Shift rather, goes on. So why don't we go ahead and just repeat that? But this time what we'll do is we will be, well, actually, you know what? Let's pause for just a moment and let's wait to do that. We will have you introduce your characters when you arrive at the morning meeting. But before we do that, I'd like to imagine yourselves at home or wherever it is that you spend your time when you're, in reality, or at least that's what people think it is. And I'd like you to tell me what you might be doing in the first thing in the morning when you wake. Let's start with Mora. Mora, what is it that you do when you first wake up? And tell me, what would the audience see?
They'd see a really kind of basic apartment. Just a little 2-bedroom basic apartment. Not a ton of decor, not a lot of, there's nothing like family pictures or anything like that. There's really only one picture of Mora and one other person, another woman in the picture with her, and that's pretty much the only kind of thing in the room that is like visibly personal.
And are you drinking coffee or having breakfast?
Definitely drinking coffee. Just having probably like coffee and a croissant for breakfast.
All right. And you have a roommate, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Mag?
Yes, and she's the one who's the other person in the picture.
And this morning, she's not in. She left early to do whatever it is she does. She's some sort of computer whiz, after all.
Mm-hmm.
And you are sitting there drinking your coffee, and you get a ping on your phone, and it's a message from her. And it's her being kind of unusually excited about something she's been watching, a video online. It's actually a 6-hour long, lengthy video essay about a video game that apparently she loved back in the 80s called Voyagers of Heroia, 25 years later. And so she's going on and on about it. And I mean, you know that she's always been a computer nerd, but she's really excited about this. I mean, she's it's one of those ping, ting, 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 ting. She's sending kind of rapid fire texts about how great this is, and you need to block out some time to watch. As you're doing that, the tings start to kind of have a rhythmic sound to them, and you kind of feel yourself distracted, and you look out the window at the clouds going by. It's a lovely morning, and you see a little plane flying through the clouds, and the wake of the plane, as it passes through the clouds kind of swirl around, and they start to resemble letters. And as you look, kind of tilt your head, they say, "Report to the office." And you know that this is a message from the agency telling you to arrive for a new mission. We cut now to who are we going to next? Daisha. And Daisha, tell us what the audience might see in the morning when you are assuming awake.
I think I'm coming in from my night job. And getting in the house, I'm pulling off like work clothes, laying my stuff down, and I'm like, "Uncle D, are you kidding me?" I said, "Wait till I get home." And there's just the smell of like burnt something. Something is burnt in the toaster, and I'm a little frazzled because it was a long shift, and I'm just like, he's like, "I'm sorry, I thought you should keep it down long. I just turned it all away." And so it's kind of like a smaller house, older style kitchen and stuff like that. It's that older linoleum, hasn't been updated in a while. There's still a phone on the wall, that kind of look, and she's shaking her hair down from work and just trying to get settled in and hoping that she gets to sleep in today and she doesn't have another call coming from the agency, that, she's hoping not. She's hoping it doesn't happen, and that she can make her uncle some breakfast and then sleep.
So your uncle apologizes for burning the breakfast. He really hasn't had much experience cooking. He's always had your aunt cooking, and now that she's gone, he's having to figure it out for himself. But he sees that you're chilling for a moment, and he turns around and he's got like a little brochure in his hands. And he says, I was thinking about just taking a weekend, a vacation. This cabin in Marion County looks really beautiful. And it's just a little rental cabin. He said, I thought maybe, your aunt and I used to go to places like this.
Yeah.
And so I decided it would be maybe a break for you, because I wouldn't be all up in your business.
Oh, no. No, that's not a problem. I'm here to take care of you, make sure you're okay. But if you want, to get away for the week, that's you know what? I will pack you sandwiches.
Oh, I would appreciate that. That's what your aunt always did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be nice. And the brochure, it looks like a small little cabin that on the outside of a lake. It looks lovely this time of year.
It does. You could fish. You haven't fished in a while, maybe.
Oh yeah, I'll have to dig out my fishing pole, he says, but I think I could find that. Well, your aunt put it away. I don't know where she put it. I'm sure I'll find it.
Yeah, we'll find it.
Yeah, he turns to sort of putter off.
Mhm.
And then you look down at the breakfast that he had burned, and what was he cooking, do you think? Pieces of toast, did you say?
Yeah, it looks like it was trying to be toast. And I'm not I think they were supposed to be scrambled eggs, but I'm pretty sure that there's also a little bit of Teflon with those eggs, and I'm gonna need to get new pans.
Yeah, you're looking in the pan. There's all these like black flecks, and you can tell that this pan has just been scorched. And as you kind of dump the egg into the trash, and you look down, and there's burn marks on the pan, and they spell out the words "report to the office." And you're like, oh, you know what this means.
Yeah.
There's a mission, and you've been selected to join this very special team. Again,
I say, I'm gonna run to the store real quick, Uncle Daryl. I'll be back before you're ready to go to the cabin.
And then you hear him say, "Oh, that's fine. It might take me a while to find my fishing lures." And you hear like boxes rummaging and all of this in the background. And it will be a day or two till he's found what he's looking for, if he does it all.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Let's go to Tempest. What might your morning routine, if you have one, look like? You might be asleep. You might be awake. What do we see?
Tempest is a tutor. So she's also a student. So she's working currently on her master's after pulling another all-nighter. Highly not recommended. She's just like her eyes are watering behind very thick glasses, like an inch away from the screen. She's like, I can finish this. I can finish this. I can finish this. I've got time. And she just is so deep in trying to solve time travel is her current thesis. It was a very important movie when she was younger, and she's like, I got this. We can do this. Like her roommates are trying to talk to her. She does not hear them. They're making eggs. She smells it. Like they put a plate next to her, and she's sitting there like, randomly like grabs a handful of scrambled eggs and stuffs it in her mouth. Continues typing. She's zoned in and locked in.
All right. So you are focusing on the time travel thesis that you've been working on. And so you hear one of your friends is sitting near you and talking on the phone, and they're laughing about something, and you just catch a couple words. They're talking about a gang of cosplayers. that have been terrorizing the countryside. You just overhear that. But then they've moved on to a different topic, and you're back into your thesis.
I catch the gang of cosplayers and I start typing out the gang of cosplayers, and it like warps its way into my thesis, and I'm like, wait, reading that back, what? Wait, what? What's happening? I turned to my roommates, like, Tasha, what is happening?
Oh, this is hilarious. Look at this. It's like, and then they hold up a phone, and the phone is just like a local news oddities. That there's been multiple calls about cosplayers trespassing on properties across Marion County, and that's what it's like. That what's going on? Is there like a cosplay convention like out in the woods or something?
Wait, looking at the story, I'm like, my eyes start like looking at another screen right now. My eyes are aching, and I'm like, okay, just give me a second. Takes off my glasses and rubs them. It's like, okay. Let me see that phone.
And then you pick up the phone, and it's a little it's a very small little article in a local newspaper that somebody had been kind of becoming a minor little viral thing that people are sharing because it's ridiculous. That there's like rogue cosplayers roaming the countryside is the joke, kind of, but it's based on multiple reports being called in to the Marion County Sheriff's Office.
Is there like nothing more important for them to be reporting on? It's just like people, just a bunch of nerds having fun, like people calling cops on them. Are they hurting anybody? Like, what's going on?
And your friend's like, I don't know. I just thought it was hilarious. Here, look. And then she scrolls down, scrolls on the phone, and there's people like posting memes about it. And some of the memes are pretty funny. So that's probably why it's catching on.
Okay. I hand the phone back and like pick up my plate to eat like a human being, with like and a fork. Just like,
you start to eat, and then you turn back and you're looking at your computer screen again that you had been typing on, and you can see that like the words twist from your sentence into something about cosplayers. But then there's another line there that you didn't remember writing, which says, report to the office. It's all underlined with that zigzag red line too.
Mm-hmm. I highlight the whole part, like including the cosplayers and everything, backspace it, finish my bacon and my croissant, and like, all right, I'm gonna head to class and grab my bag and stuff and just head on out.
They wish you well. Now, Zelda, what are you doing? What is your morning routine if you have one?
I don't know that Zelda has a routine, so to speak, but you will see inside of a very dark, very empty jazz club, the Hope Diamond Jazz Club. You will see a far booth in the back with like crushed black velvet, just kind of sitting back, hanging out, not really drinking anything, not really eating anything, just kind of fumbling through some kind of magazine, just kind of chilling, waiting for what is inevitably going to come and a warning to get to the office. Just I've been doing this for too long and just chilling. There's still some music playing, even though the club is closed. There's a little bit of jazz playing in the background. The owner kind of keeps it playing for me.
So as you're flipping through the magazine, you see a lot of, there's a bunch of fashion spreads, a carpet at some of them, their dress is this red number that has just some like mismatched jumble of letters on it, and it's kind of like an abstract ad with somebody holding up a book, and they're like, and it's something about like a learning to like a reading more languages or something, and they're holding up a book that they can read. And it's all these random letters, and you look up for a minute, and the book kind of falls closed, and they spell out, "Report to the office."
I will note I didn't describe my character at all, so I probably should do that in the space too. Yeah, so during that time when Zelda was sitting in the booth, you would see sometimes Zelda sitting in the booth. Other times you're like, wasn't Zelda in that booth a minute ago? Like, I thought, and so it's kind of like disappearing, appearing, but never really. You're never quite sure, like, you know, if I'm there, when I'm there, that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of going in and out. If you were to like really sit and look, that's what you would see. And Zelda has long white hair. If you look really close, you'll see a little bit of canine, but you have to get really, really close to that. Zelda's pretty good at hiding that. Shannon, not so good at hiding it, and also wants the teeth to be seen. But Zelda, you would not even know that they're there. But yeah, and so all in black.
Out, Krista. What is Krista's morning look like?
So actually what we're doing is we pan out about 40 feet from where Zelda is as you kind of follow up the stairs to the apartment that is on top of the Hope Diamond Jazz Club, where you see a woman sprawled out on nice looking bed sheets with very like there's a lot of red and blacks and purples throughout her room. She has an old school alarm clock that is just doing that noise. And she slams it once, and then it doesn't manage to snooze it, and then just kind of picks it up and throws it. And then she stands up and stretches and cracks her neck and walks from the bedroom to her living room, where there's just a note on it's living room with little kitchen overlap. There's a note that just says, ice pack is in the fridge, boss. And smoothies in the blender. So she walks over, pours herself the smoothie, grabs the ice pack and puts it on her shoulder, and picks up her phone and starts looking through the various messages that come from being the head of an organization like the Hope Diamond Jazz Club.
Okay. So who is the person that left that note?
Her second in command, Helena Broadstreet. So,
all right. And what kind of person is Helena? Just very briefly.
Someone who's generally aspired to be a real good second in command, but also probably 6'4" and 3.5 feet wide. Okay. She is an enforcer type. So,
all right. So, is this the ice pack for a hangover?
No, this is some of the activities that everybody got up to the night before. She caught a lead pipe to the shoulder and is icing that off.
All right, excellent. So you get a message from somebody else in your organization, let's say, who has learned that there's going to be an auction that is happening this week in town for what are apparently rare copies of Wanderer magazine, which is a sci-fi fantasy video game magazine from the 70s and 80s that's prized by collectors. And somebody was asking about hosting like an event at the club related to this. So apparently they're doing a retrospective of all the old covers, and they're like, framed by the original artists and all of this for this auction. And they were wondering whether you would have a space they could use. And they send little samples of it, and one of them is, what do you know? It is Voyagers of Heroia, which was one of the great popular video games of the early 80s that has kind of fallen out of memory. But this is like a classic cover that they've got featured there. And as you're looking at it, maybe you remember, maybe you don't, if you were the kind of person that played video games in your youth, if your character is that of that age.
And she's late 30s, early 40s, so yeah.
Yeah, it would have been like when you were very young, but possible, right? So that is what these messages you're getting. And then you get another message that's clearly a spam message because it's talking about, it's something about have more energy, right? Take these pills and you won't need to sleep and that sort of thing. And just call now, or, call this number now. And it says 1-800 report to the office.
Oh, lovely. Okay. And then she texts Helena saying, "You're in charge of the club and the extracurriculars, love. I'll be back when I'm back." And she'll walk downstairs into the jazz club, look around, see if anyone else is there, and then put on a prim and proper blazer over her. Oh yeah, forgot to describe her. She's.
Well, I was going to have everyone describe themselves when they arrive at the meeting. But you can go ahead if you'd like to do it now.
I'm sorry, I messed that up. I totally misunderstood that.
No, that's
I'm
okay.
already breaking the rules and getting in trouble.
I mean, if anyone's going to do it, I'd expect it to be you.
Yeah. But yeah, so she tosses her blazer on, buttons it up, and heads in.
Awesome. So all of you separately travel to the office. Now, you all know this, having visited the Triangle Agency before, but our audience doesn't, which is that the Triangle Agency exists in an extra-dimensional space accessed through a front. It is a business that isn't really a business, and it periodically changes. And every time it changes to something, designed to be nondescript, uninteresting, that sort of thing. And as you arrive, this time it is a dry cleaner, but it's a specialty dry cleaner. It only does taxidermied items. So it's a taxidermy dry cleaner. And it's got a large window in front that's papered over. And then it just has the sign that says taxidermy dry cleaners above it. The door is closed, but each of you try the door and it opens. And inside a very small room, like a 10 by 10 room, there is a desk, like a counter, like a front counter, and a single phone, and a door that's closed that says staff. And you know that that's actually the entrance. So you approach the door, open it, and step inside. And there's a strange sort of change in air pressure. And as the door closes behind you, you turn around and you all see that there is a perfectly white wall with a door that is closed such that you can almost not see that the door's even there anymore. It kind of just blends into the wall. And you're in an austere corporate space with indirect lighting coming from no particular spot. And it's just a reception area. There's a sofa on the left and a sofa on the right that probably have never actually been sat in. There is a painting on the wall above the sofa on the right of a pastoral scene that, as you look at it, you realize that the river is flowing the wrong way. It's flowing up a waterfall instead of down. And you look to your left and you see that there's another painting. And this one is of a boy who's waving, but the boy looks like it's almost like it's clearly a hand, like a painted oil painting, but it almost looks like it's an AI generated image because the eyes are out of sync and there's like 6 fingers on one hand and 3 fingers on another. And it's just like this. It looks a little, the closer you look at it, the more unusual it gets. There's a hallway in front of you, and so you continue to walk down the hall. And you've had this experience before. Every time you come here, the layout is different. And you know that somehow you end up finding your way to the meeting room you need. So you walk down the hall, and then you enter a big office area. This is a room that's roughly, I mean, it's huge. It's like the size of a gymnasium, right? And it's just filled with identical desks, right? Like one of those places that used to have like a writing pool and they have like 100 people all on typewriters. And there's all these old typewriters sitting there, but there's just nobody here, right? It's empty. And there's fluorescent lights hanging from a very high ceiling, like a 50-foot ceiling. And, you know, they're kind of buzzing loudly. And you just keep walking past, not sure what the purpose of this room is. And the hallway continues. It turns right, then it turns left. Then it forks, but you look down both hallways to the left and right. It goes in, it's like a plus and, you know, a cross intersection. And those both end in doors that don't have any identifying markings on them. So you continue walking. You turn another corner and then another corner. And then finally, you see a door on the left that just says meeting room. But the hallway does continue and then turns out of sight. But your experience so far has been when you're told to come to the meeting room and you see a room that says meeting room, that's where you're supposed to go. Okay, let's go around in order that I did it before. That's the order you're going to arrive at the meeting room. Barb, go ahead and tell us what Mora looks like and what you do when you arrive at this empty meeting room. You step in and you open the door and it looks like a conference room. It is the most generic hotel convention center looking conference room you've ever seen, right? There's like gray upholstery and like plywood glossy table, and you know, there's like a single little stand on the side with like a pitcher of ice water that's all melted. What do we see? What does Mora look like?
Mora has changed out of her all black clothing that she was wearing at home, and she is now dressed in a nice suit for work. She has black hair and kind of medium brown eyes, and her hair is now up in a kind of high set ponytail to give her a little bit of a perky look. And she steps in and looks around and is just kind of, I haven't had nearly enough coffee today yet for this. She just goes and picks a chair and sits down and waits for things to happen.
All right. Just so you know, there is no coffee here. All right, let's hear from Jessiye. Tell us about Daisha. What do we see?
Daisha walks into the meeting room, opening the door, and she's finishing putting her hair up in a more professional style. She's got dark skin. She's got like a dark rich brown skin. Her locks are twisted into kind of like their own type of braids. They're this bright blue with a little bit of purple underneath them at the roots. Like maybe she's thinking about changing colors. She's but she's putting it up in kind of like a more professional type looking as, you know, like thing. And she's also wearing a really sharp navy like kind of skirt suit thing, and these bright red heels, as she's also kind of rubbing off her nail polish, like one last take off the bright purple that she had on. You can kind of see the bright purple on the pad as she looks for a trash can. Like,
I think there's one over in the corner. Pretty sure I saw one.
Thanks.
There is, in fact, just a single wastebasket in the corner, and there's a bunch of crumpled up papers in it already.
Wait, you didn't happen to bring any coffee with you, did you?
No, I didn't. It's going to be a long day.
Yeah. I was hoping I would be asleep right now. All right.
Well, while you two are talking, and in enters, was it? I think we went with Zelda next.
Me.
Or was it Tempest? Tempest. Okay, go ahead.
No, so Tempest walks in looking refreshed. She looks brand spanking new. She's got a long she's got a lot of hair. It's thick, it's curly, it's beautiful, it's massive. It's pulled back currently into a very big ponytail that kind of just like puffs out. She is wearing a white suit jacket, well, like puffer jacket, and a turtleneck, a sleeveless turtleneck that has like a galaxy design on it. She looks older than she actually is, and she's wearing some cargo pants with multiple belts and like it's like tactical pants. She ready to go. She also has scars coming up her arms and going up her neck, and is blind in her left eye.
Okay.
She's carrying a pocket watch that she just tucks away in her jacket pocket.
All right. So you join Daisha and Mora.
And she's bringing coffee.
All right. So, Tempest saves the day with the coffee, and
Bless you.
And then I believe
gosh.
we are. Oh, look, there's our characters. All right, and then let's hear from Zelda.
Zelda did characters about a minute and a half ago.
That is awesome.
So let's give a massive shout out for behind the scenes. We have Phoebe running tech, and Phoebe's
Yay,
crushing
Phoebe.
it. So,
Love you.
So I have changed out of my flowy black, and I am now pretty much in black leather almost everywhere that you can see. And also pockets everywhere. Don't necessarily have anything in them, but there's the long black leather pants, boots up to the knee, black boots with the fur. Yeah, I went right there too. I've got a black tank top on, and then there's a little bit of mesh on the sleeves, that kind of thing. But it's pretty much all black everywhere you can see, except skin. Everywhere you see skin, it is as pale pasty white as you can possibly get, and not question humanity. It's pretty pale and white. And I have now taken my hair and it's around the side, and I have it kind of like wrapped on one side over here with a nice little clip kind of thing or whatever. So I've taken it out of the way, and I am carrying a black leather briefcase. And there's no accent colors. There's no strips of gold or silver or whatever. It's everywhere you look, it's either black or white, except the lips in this case are bright red.
Excellent.
And I will just walk on in, and I see Tempest has brought coffee again. Is there not someone else that can maybe step up and get coffee next time?
I just sip my Arnold Palmer in the corner.
Things happen.
Late shift again?
I mean, yeah, it's just held over a little bit. Yeah, I haven't slept. It's fine. Just sips of coffee.
I'll spring for the coffee next time, I promise.
Just because Tempest can, do stuff and manipulate that time a little bit, we can't be relying for everything,
It does help, though, to be able to,
They
get
do.
that extra few minutes that you need.
I know they do always seem to have the time to do that somehow, even though they're so busy. Now, while this conversation is going on, Krista arrives. Would you like to describe Krista?
Sure.
Just real quick before that, at the end of that, I'm just going to turn to Tempest. Do you have my chai mocha latte?
Do I have? And I just hand it. I was like, I slide it over to you.
Thank you.
That was worth waiting for. All right.
So the character art we have of Krista is what she looks like as she's leaving her place. When she manages to arrive at when she's wandering the halls of the office, her hair has turned into a giant, like her purple hair with pink and purple streaks has turned into this giant poof of a perm. And it happens every time she goes through that door, and she doesn't know how to stop it, but she's pretty sure that it's because she made somebody really mad. And as she sees the meeting room door, she is now dressed reasonable heels, slacks, the same kind of purple shirt, but with a blazer over it and buttoned up. She's carrying a thermos of cold brew and her phone where she is coordinating all of everything from. She does go a little bit past the meeting room door, and then something around ankle level beeps a little bit. She glares at it, and then she turns around and heads into the meeting room.
All right.
Oh, hi everyone. I see. Oh, there's coffee. Well, if anyone wants any cold brew, I've got some as well.
We'll need both. I will need both.
Sips on my Arnold Palmer.
So as you're all beginning, caffeinating or getting yourself comfortable in this meeting room, there's it just so happens that you reach the top of the hour, and there is a tinny 3-note jingle that plays over speakers somewhere up in the ceiling. Doom, doom, doom. And you hear a voice that says, "Good morning, branch. A reminder to all employees that today is Temporal Anomaly Timesheet Day. So if you have your timesheet approved by a manager, you must submit it by earlier today, unless you plan to submit it yesterday. Also, Monday is Funny Tie Day. In order to commemorate this, we shall now play some funny tie music. and then the chorus of Rockstar by Smash Mouth plays 3 times, and then it just goes bzzz and cuts out. You then, a moment or two later, there is the wall on one side starts to glow, and you realize that there's a screen there, and it's kind of like gray static, like an old-fashioned over-the-air transmission, and then it kind of clarifies, and it's just got the red triangle, right, of the triangle agency, and then it's kind of got that like startup sound, like whoa. And then a different voice says, "Good morning, agents. Welcome to your mission briefing. I will be your mission briefer today."
Good morning, Charlie.
Hello. 2 days ago, a couple was reported missing and are now presumed dead in the small town of Marion, in the nearby rural county of Marion County. The agency has intercepted several reports of shining figures in the fields there at night, as well as loud electronic music being heard from up to a mile away, as well as antique tools and supplies in pristine condition, such as blacksmithing anvils, looms, metal-banded chests, and medieval weaponry left by the roadside and in ditches at or near the missing couple's farmhouse over the last several days. The sheriff's department has stated publicly that they cleared the house and property and found signs of a gunshot. Possibly a struggle, but little else. They have notified the FBI for help, so we need to move before this creates loose ends on a national level.
Are we sure this isn't just another steampunk rave on mushrooms?
Or like a Ren fair, like a really low-key Ren fair, or like what are the things where the Ren fair guys come together and play?
Oh, yeah.
Reenactment
LARP.
things.
LARP.
LARPing.
Yeah.
Oh, it could be a steampunk LARP rave hallucinogen.
But
Or it
that's
could be.
Yeah, we've had one of those before.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
know how much
I
trash
remember
they
that one.
leave.
Yeah. Oh, it was. Sorry, Charlie. Go ahead.
These permutations have been analyzed and calculated and have been ruled out due to the fact that the 2 people have been missing now for over a month, and when police investigated, they found signs of a struggle and a gunshot, and the police have taken this as grounds for calling the FBI. It is the involvement of the national authorities that has alerted us that this may develop into loose ends. To bypass that possibility from coming to pass, you will be sent to Marion in Marion County in order to speak with Marcus Heil, the missing couple's adult son, who has been contacted by the police as the missing couple's next of kin. Mr. Heil is staying at the Hart Motel in Marion. He has been cleared as a suspect because he was in another city at the time and is now aiding authorities in the search for his missing parents. He is the only remaining member of the family to have lived in this house. Therefore, agents are advised to interview him. You will be requisitioned a company van with which you can travel over highways and byways to the town of Marion. That vehicle is available in Garage 17CX, which can be reached by following the blue line. And then there's this bing, and a blue light appears on the floor that's a line leading out under the door. Are there any questions?
Are you guys going to sponsor my driver's license test? Because I put that requisition in a while ago, and I still haven't heard anything back.
Agents may request such requisitions when they have earned the adequate number of commendations. According to your dossier, you have received 0 commendations.
Cool. Call me out like that. Thanks, Charlie.
Rough.
About the timesheets, what if I submit it tomorrow?
If you submit your temporal anomaly timesheet tomorrow in local time, it will qualify you only for time anomalies that occur last year.
Right. Okay. Well. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Good luck, agents. And then the wall kind of goes dim.
All right, so I might have just finished up with my training yesterday or the day before. Is it always like that here?
Always.
Yeah.
Their name's not really Charlie. I just like
No.
TV.
Yeah. I don't know what. Do we know what their name is?
No, that's why I just call them Charlie. Like,
Makes
it's so
sense.
weird to have a thing,
I
just a disembodied voice just tell us what to do. So I had to
Yeah.
give it a name.
For years and never tell us.
Yeah.
But
I don't.
Tempest, you're going to take
Oh.
care of those sheets for us all, right?
I did it
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
thought
sweet.
so. Okay.
You're the best,
Alright.
Tempest.
Yeah.
I
They're in
stand up from
already.
the table and I just stretch and I'm like, oh, I needed that coffee. Okay, I'm gonna warm up the voice. Sorry, you guys. Okay, I gotta make sure that I'm ready for this so we can be able to interview him in the most proper
Yes.
ways. I really apologize. I won't do this in the car.
That
The
never
light-
gets old.
The light starts blinking and pulsing slowly. on the
Yeah,
floor.
yeah, I know.
We're
moving,
coming.
we're
We're
moving.
Let's
coming.
go.
Jeez. Grab my Arnold
Zelda
Palmer.
peels herself off from the wall. She was basically in the corner, as bored out of her mind as she could possibly be. Very indifferent, like, yeah, like, get to it. Like, we're okay. And then so peels herself off and follows everybody out.
So, Daisha, you driving again?
I mean, sure, I'll drive.
You're the best at it.
I only do it most of the time.
Look, they won't let me. I still can't afford to get a driver's license. So
yeah.
here we are.
I'll drive
I
on
mean,
the
that
way
whole
back.
incident-
All right? I'll drive on the way back, and I'll even buy you a coffee before we drive back, so you can sit in the back, drink your coffee. I'll drive on the way back.
That's fine. I mean,
Tempest, that
whatever.
incident with the 3 cows,
Oof.
the
Yeah.
3
I know.
cows in one, like,
See that I was
it's
gonna
take
I wasn't
them a
gonna
while.
mention that. I wasn't
Okay,
gonna
no.
mention that
You
the
know
last
what?
time we let you try to drive. I wasn't gonna mention it.
It was the classic trolley problem. All right. So you tell me what
mean-
your choice would have been. It was
So-
like nuns or cows. My choices were clear.
Those weren't nuns, and you know it.
Fine. They were they wore the hood thingy. Or were those black hoodies?
Those weren't
what?
habits either.
All right, fine.
So as
Bunch
you
of
learning
goths
curve.
count as nuns. I'm just saying. Bunch of
There's a
goths
learning
count
curve.
as nuns.
continue the conversation, you follow the glowing line on the floor, and it takes you further into the office area, turning corners, and then you suddenly emerge in what looks like a busy, bustling office filled with people. You see people with typing. You see people talking to one another in front of a big whiteboard with a bunch of symbols all over it that don't make any sense to you. There's, you look over to the right and there's somebody who's struggling to make coffee with the machine that's clearly got them at their wit's end. You look to the left and there's somebody going, whoa, and spilling paper all over the place. And you just continue. Then somebody's pushes a cart full of envelopes right in front of you, and then hands one of you a manila envelope. Let's say hands it to Daisha, and then just keeps pushing that cart along. And
What do we got this time?
you open it up, and you have a set of keys.
Oh, it's
And a
I
little
hate this
brochure.
van.
A little brochure that looks remarkably like the one that your uncle had.
Okay.
What's
That's
up?
nothing. I'll just have to make sure to find a different vacation spot when I get back.
So you follow the
Yeah,
line
huh?
further, and it leaves the bustling office, and then you turn a corner and you're in a copy room, and there's a good dozen copiers, and they all have a very similar looking person standing at them with their back to you in like a white collared shirt and a tie and slacks and a belt, and they're all in synchronized action, lifting paper down with the machine up next, and they're just doing it. It's almost like synchronized copying is occurring.
I just want to lean over to Zelda and say, do you think we could have Krista ask the question I'm not supposed to ask about if it's just one person or 20?
Krista always does so much better.
Yeah, but it was just like a little bit new, so I just think it would be less.
That's what I mean.
offensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we have about another month of that before they really get wise to us, though.
Wait, what is
Okay.
it that you need me to do?
No, nothing necessarily. Yeah, but
If you wanted.
The person copying slowly turns, and all heads turn at the same time, and they look at you, big bushy mustache, and they say, "Don't you do it. Don't.
No.
We're not supposed to talk about that." And then they turn back to you, or back away from you, and they begin copying again. And again, you're not sure if, and it sounded like 20 voices.
right.
Entire body shudders as Tempest just moves. It's like every freaking time. Ugh.
Still don't know. I still don't know. Is it 1? Is it 5?
That is a question we don't need the answer to. Just keep.
Curious.
Yep. And you follow the line, and finally, eventually, you arrive at a heavy metal door with a little buzzing red sign above it that says exit. And as you open it, you find a garage, and it is a vast underground parking expanse, entirely empty. But you look at the keys, and they do have a key fob on them that will beep when pushed. When you push it,
I really hope.
Hmm?
I really hope we get the black one this time.
It's not, it's not going to be the one we want.
it goes
Shotgun.
beep beep, and you can hear it, but it's very far away, and you have to walk down the ramp and back and down again and down another one, like 3 floors down. You don't know why they parked it so far away. No other cars, no other people in this vast space. And then you finally turn a corner and you see it. It is it's your cover van to make you look nondescript and blend in as a local. And it is a 1970s van with bubble windows on the back and like a big painting of a unicorn flying across with a rainbow. And it's got rust, and it smells weird.
It had to be
I
a
will
uniform.
Yeah, but it could have been that blue one that I think I could still smell
Okay. Yeah.
from like 4 missions ago.
Yeah.
No.
The blue cheese van is also worse. So
Ugh,
you
the
do
blue
have a
cheese.
point.
See?
So, Daisha, you've got the keys. You fire it up,
Yep.
and you hit the road. When you get in, this is a a period piece. This thing is, clunk, clunk, and it's got the old-fashioned everything. There is only an AM radio with no tape deck. So you've got that. Is anybody playing the radio, or are you going to let it go? Leave it silent?
I'm running
Absolutely.
shotgun. I'm like messing with the dials, seeing what we're hearing.
Okay. Right now.
You're gonna
Go ahead.
You're gonna try to change the channel, and I'm gonna basically phase out and change the channel to put it on that one channel that plays Dark Shadows. I never get to hear it anymore. And as soon as it comes on, Mora, you're gonna be like, that's why the radio dial wasn't working.
Zelda, we always listen to this.
And
It's
strangely,
been a while.
Yeah, and strangely, you are like what seems to be just a very good distance underground in the middle of this parking lot. Perfect reception, but only for this show. The other channels are all staticky. So you drive out of the parking garage.
I'm listening to a CD player. I have an old school Walkman. It's like
I
am not listening to this Dark Shadows thing again.
Daisha does not even hear it anymore. Daisha's just like, yeah, I've done this. This is the first thing Zelda made me listen to ever, so.
I'm like looking out the window and mockingly like mouthing along with what the, intro to the show says,
Yeah, right. So, maybe we'll get to hear the opening script of what Dark Shadows is next episode. Yeah. So you hit the road, and it's a several-hour drive. It's outside of the spatio-temporal location at which this office portal is currently located. And you're driving, and you know that your destination is the Hart Motel in Marion, where you are supposed to meet Marcus Heil. And as you're driving, there's these commercials come on periodically, and they start talking about whatever Biz, your favorite soap, and then it kind of gets staticky for a second, and it says, "Visit the Hart Motel," and you having experienced this before are getting the impression this might be broadcast from the agency. Rated a solid 1.5 out of 5 stars online. The motel property features plenty of room to park or land a helicopter. And there's a shuttle bus that will drop passengers off at the front door, though won't pick any up. You'll be wanting to speak to the proprietor and aging owner, Mr. Granite. Don't take him for it.
Ew.
Good one.
Grown.
And your contact, Marcus Heil, will be receiving a call that requires him to step out of his room to get better reception around the time of your arrival. So look for him holding his phone high up in the air outside of one of the rooms. And then it kind of statics out and it goes back to the show. All right. An hour or two later, over hill and dale, you drive. First on the interstate, but then you have to leave the interstate to go to a state highway. And then you have to turn off the state highway onto a county road. And it's a winding county road, hills up and down, turns, farmland on each side, mostly abandoned or broken down farms. You're going into like a poor rural area. But then you see occasionally a lake, a small grove of trees. And it's starting to become somewhat more scenic. And then you finally reach the town of Marion, an old-fashioned downtown with about 2 or 3 blocks of 2 to 3 story brick buildings closely lining the downtown area street here. And there's sidewalks and like the one stoplight. Assuming that one or more of you may have used your GPS, or if you do open the glove compartment, you will find a triptych, one of those 3 folded maps that
Yeah.
has the trip, and somebody has marked it out with a highlighter along the road to get you where you need to go, just like you might have gotten from a travel agency like 50 years ago. And it takes you right to the diner. The motel. The motel is an 8 cinder block walled rooms. You got these 8 rooms. The whole thing's made of cinder block. It's 1 floor. There's potholes all over this gravel parking lot. There's paint, but it's all flaking off, and it's mostly just exposed brick and metal and cinder block and metal. The metal of the sign is all rusted. There's bad graffiti all over the building. And you do, in fact, see somebody sitting on a bench looking at their phone outside of one of the rooms, and then standing up and fidgeting with their phone in the air. And they're taking long, kind of annoyed drags on like a vape. But when you first arrive, you see in front it says office. It's like this kind of neon light with one of the F's is burned out. And you can see through the window that there's an old man sitting at the front desk. What would you like to do?
I see our guy over there.
Yeah. Who wants to talk to him? Start it off. I can.
I mean, are we supposed to talk to him first or to Mr. Granite to check in?
And are we supposed to keep an eye on him? Are we following him, or are we talking to him?
I think we were supposed to interview, weren't we?
Yeah, we've got to talk to him about what he saw.
I have a question for the general manager.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way that I could use any of my anomaly to take a look at this dude's past and like a rewind, like this is what you missed on Glee, but for this dude's life?
So there is a way for you to do that as a timepiece, but you have to have a conversation with him. You have the ability called Remember When, where you can you roll empathy, and if you roll successfully, you get they feel they're overwhelmed with nostalgia, and they are desperate to talk about their past, and you can easily lead them to subjects that you're interested in, even typically secret or classified ones.
Okay, cool. So I mean, I will offer my services to talk to this,
and I'll go with you
guy.
And I'll turn on the voice.
Okay. Good, because I don't like talking to people.
I'll break the ice. We'll work together.
There we go. Got a plan.
So while you're planning, let me go ahead and just remind you, although as I've mentioned briefly before to you all and off stream, we're going to be kind of rolling out mechanics for this game rather slowly. So I'm not going to be strict about things like your competency requirements. So each of you have a competency, whether that be PR or R&D or what other your position or your role at the Triangle Agency is. And there are, for each of those, there are sanctioned behaviors that you are encouraged to do. And then there are ones that you are not supposed to do. And those that you do, when you do your sanctioned behaviors, you get commendations. And then you can get demerits if you do other the wrong sorts of things. So, and that's all listed on your sheets. So your competency will list your sanctioned behaviors.
Yes, I do have a sanctioned behavior that says uncover what someone really needs.
Yes.
And I feel that might help me here.
Mm-hmm. It could.
Or change someone's life permanently, either one.
Could be good too. Yeah. So you know,
I
just
used my make
Mhm.
someone do what you want earlier when you got me my mocha chai latte.
You did. So you can be, and I will ask for
Rude.
you all as we develop our familiarity with this system to kind of have those in mind and remind me, oh, hey, I think that's commendation worthy, you know. And if you want to be a good player and be honest, you can also remind me when you do something worthy of a demerit. But you know, so for
Yes.
example, the Gravedigger, that's a Daisha, you get a demerit each time you touch something living. Just for example, right? But you know, so that's but you
That's
get
for Daisha.
Hilarious.
but you get a commendation when you
Hang out with Zelda. It's fine.
clean up a mess, dig up some dirt, or bury a problem. That's the Gravedigger, just for example, right? And then at the end, we will do a self-assessment. That that's like when we finish a mission, right? But we'll get to that later. So Hotline, for example, never say unfortunately, even when you deliver bad news. And the commendations are, take the blame for something you didn't do, connect someone to an unexpected fate. You're the hotline operator. Help somebody unburden themselves. That could be useful in an interrogation as well. All right. So now that we've kind of reminded you of some of the mechanics, and to be clear, also dice rolls are really only ever used in two cases. Number one, when you use your anomaly, and number two, when you call on the triangle agency to retcon reality. So there are times when you're like, either retcon isn't even the right word, just alter reality. So there are times when you would like something in reality to be a certain way, and you then say, I would like to invoke, call the triangle agency into, and you just tell me what you'd like to be the case in the scene. You get to have narrative control, but when you do that, you have to roll. You describe what you want to change and how you would approach changing it, and that would mean you kind of select which of your 9 stats you think you're going to be leaning into. You roll that, and that just means roll the 6 4-sided dice. You can use quality assurances from the chosen stat if you want, which allow you to turn a failure into a success on a single die. And then it happens. You just get it, right? But if there's neither of those happening, there are no dice rolls. So there's no skill checks or attacks or any of that stuff. In fact, the assumption is in the triangle agency that, well, without your anomalies and without the power of the triangle agency to manipulate reality, you all kind of stink. You're all just boring, generic peons, and you mostly fail. So good luck. The Triangle Agency is running a study to discover why it is that anomalies seem to attach themselves to abject failures.
Losers?
They're losers. No, I didn't say that. That is not the approved terminology according to the general manager's dossier.
Page 57, code 33.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, it's just one of those things. So, for example, when you're going to interrogate somebody, just recognize that if you're not employing the triangle agency or an anomaly, it'll be challenging and might not always go the way you want. So that having been said, we've got Mora and Tempest going to talk to Marcus. What would Daisha, Zelda, and Krista like to do? You could, of course, join, or you could go talk to the proprietor or look around. What would you like to do, you three?
I mean, one of my behaviors is dig up some dirt. So I could talk to the proprietor, see what they've been
absolutely
noticing.
I think Krista will go along with talking to the interviewing the subject, just in case there's any PR applications that need to be done.
Excellent. And that leaves Zelda. Where would you like to go?
Yeah, I will walk on in to interview the proprietor as well.
Okay.
With Daisha.
All right, well, let's go ahead and start there with Daisha and Zelda.
Just on a note to players too, if you are forgetting, there is an anomaly PDF that you can look through that has your specific 3 things, your powers, so to speak, that will give you some extra swagger when you need it.
Yes. And if and when a dice roll comes up, I'll explain that mechanic again as well. It's pretty simple. All right, so you walk in. So this is Daisha and Zelda. Since the office is right in front of you, you walk in and arrive first. You see an aging man, gray hair, balding, and he's got a cigarette hanging out of one corner of his mouth, unlit. And he's watching TV at the end of his counter, an old CRT with the rabbit ear antennas, and it's blaring a classic game show rerun. Right now as you walk in, it's a show called Joker's Wild is playing, and it's really loud. And he looks up, and he goes, "Who are you supposed to be?"
Well, we just have a few questions.
You want a room?
Oh, not at a place this nice.
All right. Well, what do you want then?
Anything weird been happening around here at all? We've heard some rumors, some things.
Are you looking for drugs? We don't have drugs here.
No. No. Not looking for drugs. Just doing some reconnaissance, some research.
Research.
Just trying to make sure. Yeah. Just, what have you seen? What have you heard?
He looks at you and he's like, I've heard that somebody's interrupted my show.
Okay.
Saying, look, we've had lots of people coming in here. Usually they want drugs.
Okay.
But I don't know. What are you trying to ask me? We got that kid down there sitting out there. He's local though. You're not. At least he used to be local.
He's not local anymore?
Yeah, he moved away. His parents still they used to live here. They dead now.
They're dead? So why isn't he staying at their house?
It's a crime scene or something. I don't know. Why don't you go ask him?
A crime scene? Oh, well, what happened there?
I don't know. Apparently they got shot up and they disappeared and they're presumed dead. That's what I heard.
What you heard, but
yeah, Debbie over at the laundromat thinks they were abducted by aliens.
Aliens?
Yep.
Like,
them that like the probes and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so you think they got probed and abducted?
we broke Gwen already. Yes. Mission accomplished.
I shouldn't have gone there. All right. Because I'm a child. I have a humor of a 12-year-old. All right. I apologize.
Amazing.
I got the giggles. All right. I know. I'm gonna start.
Never apologize for giggles.
I'm gonna start laughing.
It's fine.
Here. No. He says, yeah, I don't know. I don't know nothing about them probes. You should ask Debbie.
Debbie?
Debbie
got probed too?
Well, she said she did.
Okay, well, you got to tell me where to find Debbie.
Debbie's the laundromat.
Okay. The one over there?
Yeah, the one in downtown.
Across the street?
It's the next block over. You drove past it and that fine looking vehicle you got out there, actually.
Yeah.
I used to have one.
How do you like that, don't you?
Yeah. I put a mattress in mine. That's a good looking vehicle.
Oh. And you didn't get probed on that mattress? No?
I have never been abducted by aliens. Thank you very much. I am not a communist.
Oh. Right. That is the precursor to alien abduction. You are so correct.
Well, it's got to be. Debbie's getting abducted.
Debbie's also a communist. Good to know.
She doesn't eat meat. What kind of person doesn't eat meat? Probably a communist.
Vegetarian?
No.
What's the difference? What's that mean?
Yeah. Well, you know what? We'll talk to Debbie. But have you heard anything else? I mean, like, if he's not staying there because his parents were, it's a crime scene. Why is he still here? What's he up to?
Well, they ain't found what happened to the parents yet.
But
They
Debbie
call
knows.
Wait a minute. Y'all from the FBI? I heard they're calling in.
Hey, we can't say where we're from. Okay.
Oh, I see how it is. It's one of these, right? I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you hear anything, you let us know.
I will. Hey, I understand what it's like to be, a federal agent. I was once a volunteer firefighter. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you get a chance to put out any fires or anything? You still got your pager?
No, what? We did. It was a little. It was in 1968. We didn't have pagers. No, there weren't no fires. I mean, a barn burned down, but we just, we did that, so we didn't put it out.
Right. Awesome.
Look, if you want, I could go with you to investigate things. I'm good. I'm sure I'd be really good at it.
But wait. You're supposed to be watching here? You're watching here.
But I mean, well, it is true. We got Love Connections on next. I probably want to watch that. All right. Yeah.
How long has your friend been alone out there? Just been by himself the whole time? Like,
I ain't got no friends here.
None?
I mean, except in your friendly selves. Oh, you mean Marcus? Oh, I don't know. He's been here a couple days.
All by himself over there, huh?
Well, once the police realized the parents had been missing, they called him in. He's like, he's the only family they got. Yeah. And then he kind of says, all right, now, come on. Is there anything else you need from me? If you're not going to rent a room, why don't you get out of here? I don't want to have to call the real police.
Hey, you can't. We are a little bit above the real police. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Quiet. Gotta be quiet about it.
What does that mean? You're like Kojak or something, or?
Oh, it's closer to we can't tell you because then we'd have to
send you to the laundromat.
Yeah,
I know what happens. I know what that means. That means I got to go spend time with that communist. All right. Well, you could go talk to that Marcus. He needs some. I'm sure he'll appreciate more people bugging him about his dead parents.
Is there anything on this countertop, like a ledger or anything like that we can see on this table here?
Yes, there is. There is an old fashioned like guest registry book just sitting there open, and it's got each page is like the title is like a month. Mm-hmm. And on the left side of the page is last month, and there are no names. On the right side of the page is this month, and there is one name, and it is Marcus Heil, room 6. And the date is 2 days ago with him checking in. And there's just a line like with no checkout date listed yet.
Cool. And his little TV that he's watching, is he like right on there? Like, is he close to where this book is? Like, is it?
No, I mean, it's the other end because the TV is at one end of this little counter. Mm-hmm. And so he's like looking at it. He keeps looking over at you and talking, and it's sitting kind of behind. He's not really looking at it. It's kind of out of his line of view.
Okay. Cool. I'm going to flip the page.
Yeah.
If I notice Zelda doing that, I'll just kind of distract him and say, are you sure about Love Connection coming on next? Because doesn't, I don't know. What's that one with the words that comes on after it?
You ain't talking about Wheel of Fortune.
No, the other one.
Press Your Luck? No, they ain't got no words. That's got the whammies. No whammies. You turn the page while that like
right
thrilling conversation is going on.
Right.
And there is only one name in the previous month, and it's Marilee Vandevender.
Cool.
Yeah.
Does
And,
it say what room?
they were in room 1, and it was for, looked like a weekend, maybe.
Okay.
Well, it's
I
like
know
2 or 3 days, and you'd look at the dates and be like, I think that was a weekend.
Do I know if this is the same time when the parents went missing?
Unknown, because they don't know how long the parents have been missing. They got noticed that they were missing about a week ago, and then the police, or like nobody had heard from them, that sort of thing. And then the police went to investigate and found that there were signs of a struggle and gunshots, but then they were not to be found. That's when they contacted the son, and then that was about 3 days ago, and then the next day he came in to town. And they're all kind of now waiting for the feds to show up.
Okay. So the laundromat, huh? That's where we should go next?
He looks at you and goes, you got dirty drawers, I guess so.
No.
Smash cut. Mora, Tempest, and Krista, you walk away from the van, and you see Marcus, and let me describe what he looks like. He's looking at his phone. He's tapping his foot anxiously. He's talking to himself under his breath. He looks kind of tall, mid-30s, maybe 40. Thick-rimmed glasses, shaggy dark hair. He's dressed in kind of business casual clothes, but they're wrinkled, like he's been wearing them for a couple of days, or maybe he hasn't been changing much. He looks tired, and he's confused by what's going on with his phone, and he goes, whatever, and he puts it in his pocket, and he stands and he turns, and he's drawing on a vape, and then he looks at you and is like, oh.
Hi, are you Marcus?
Oh, why yes, I am. Are you with the police? Are you the FBI?
We have been sent to check in with you and see what you might know about things that have been happening here. We want to apologize for everything that's happened and for taking so long to get here. I want to personally apologize for it taking so long to arrive and to meet up with you on this. But we're here now, and we would just like to talk to you and maybe find out some things that you know from your end that might give us some insight into what happened to your parents.
So incidentally, in your phone's in your pocket, you feel it vibrate because the agency's operating system, which has been installed on all of your phones, has noticed what you've done, and you've just received a commendation for taking the blame for something that's not your fault.
And in my head, I'm just like, yes.
Right.
But outside, I'm just like, hi.
So he says, oh, good. Deputy Willman said that somebody would be coming to talk to me. That's great. Look, I mean, I'll tell you what I told the deputies. I said that I don't know why anyone would want to harm my parents. They would never harm each other. I talked to them about a week and a half ago, and everything was fine. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they'd mentioned seeing weird things, but
Did they describe the? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Tempest is gonna pull out their pocket watch and kind of like click it open, and just ask him, like interrupt him in middle of his thought when he mentions his parents and he talked last week. Is that unusual for you to spend a week? Is that an unusual time? When was it like to speak to your parents? Like, do you have a good relationship with them?
It's like, I mean, yeah, I have a good relationship. I mean, we don't really have a lot in common. I mean, my dad's a hunter. I'm in computers. My mom is collects these little ceramic doll figurines. I'm more a fan of, gunplay and, little, oh, well, never mind. I like, anime figurines, not ceramic
No,
ones. So no, I mean, we don't have a lot in common, but, I mean, I had a good childhood. We are
yeah.
on good terms. What are you talking about?
Was that difficult for you, not sharing interests with your parents?
Oh, it was no different than anybody in the 80s. I had my video games and, that was fine.
I'm trying to hit like as many heartstrings as I can. So, uh, God, I had a question. It was like, video games. Did your father play those games with you? Did your mother? Were you an
Ne-
only child?
I am an only child, and no, they weren't really into it, but they were nice enough to get me video games.
Yeah.
They got me a classic console, and I used to have. Yeah. Now that I think about it, I spent a lot of time playing those. There was a happy time in my life. And he kind of starts, kind of like you see him kind of get a little wistful about it.
I'm trying to I'm trying to see like his entire childhood growing up. So I'm kind of trying to get him to remember
I was
all
going to
of
ask, are
yeah,
you trying to
I'm trying to use remember
remember
when.
when? Okay. I
I'm
just wanted to make
trying to get
sure. Yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to like cuz in the cover of my stopwatch, it play like as he remembers it kind of plays like a flashback so I'm seeing it. And
Okay, cool.
and like I'm just like, yeah, okay. I want to see firsthand like how he's telling it and then how he actually remembers it.
Okay. So in order to actually use the anomaly power, we get to have our first dice roll of the game.
That's what I'm here
So in
for.
order to invoke your anomaly, remember when? So your anomaly power is called that you are the timepiece. So I'm just
Hmm.
repeating this. So timepiece is the ability to uniquely manipulate time's passage in order to serve your preferences. In this case, you are invoking a power called Remember When, and you are going to get somebody to talk about their past in a way you want. But in order to generate this, you have to trigger the anomaly in a certain way. Every single anomaly power kind of has this seemingly arbitrary trigger, and for this one, you have to hum a tune.
I am going to hum because he mentioned video games.
Mhm.
I'm humming old school Mario to kind of just get him there.
All right, so you start humming that. Now you get to roll your empathy. Now, the way this works is you roll 6 4-sided dice,
Got it.
and you tell me how many 3s you rolled.
Okay. So is it a good thing when I roll 3 3s?
It is. That is called a transcendence. Yes. So let me go to that little page there. So it is. So let me see. When you roll your dice, when exactly 3 3s are rolled before any adjustments are made, you perfectly conduct the agency's power and you experience transcendence. The roll is a success. No chaos is created. And you may choose an additional effect. Now, to be clear, what normally happens when you roll the 4-sided dice is you need at least 1 3 to count as a success. And each of
Okay.
your anomaly powers will sometimes list like for each additional 3 or for every third 3, or if you roll 6 3s, you get something special. But you need at least 1. And if you roll 0, because remember I said you're rolling with empathy, and what that means is if you have any points in empathy, what are called quality assurances, which are assurances from the agency to make sure that you'd be successful at something like this, because you can spend one to turn a non-3 into a 3. But anytime you roll the dice, except when you roll a transcendence, any non-3s you roll generate 1 point of chaos. and I collect the chaos points and then use them to do things. They're like, that's how that's what triggers my anomaly powers.
Okay.
All right, but you rolled a transcendence, which is you perfectly can channel the power of your anomaly and direct it towards the agency's will. So you get to choose one of these 3 effects in addition to perfectly conducting this interview the way you want it to go. You can either change the number of 3s to any number you want. So if it says something like, you could ask I don't have your power in front of me. If it's something like, for every additional 3 you roll, you can do an additional thing. You could just do as many of those as you like. You could replenish spent quality assurances. You haven't spent any yet. Or you could become the employee of the moment and receive 3 commendations.
I think for this situation, because remember when on every third 3, I can request a particular memory or sequence to be described in perfect detail.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be very clear. The way that I'm seeing this on my stopwatch, no one else can see it because I can see it in my blind eye.
Nice.
So it's only in my left eye that I'm getting it. And I'm going to request the particular memory of like the most impactful moment that this man had with his parents before he came back. I want to see, like, if he had to boil down his relationship with his parents to a single moment, I want to see what that moment would be.
Excellent. All right.
Watch way too much TV. I'm pretty sure this guy did it. Whatever it is, I just need it out of my head.
Okay. So he starts describing, all the rest of you hear him be like, oh, I remember when, and he starts telling this story, but Tempest sees it in detail. So I'm going to describe it as Tempest sees it. And then the rest of you can imagine an imperfect retelling of what Tempest sees accurately, because that's how the power works. Like on a single success, Tempest would just get the talky version, but on 3 successes, you get the actual perfect scene in detail. So here's what you see. You see an old style farmhouse. There's a Christmas tree and some presents underneath it. A man and a woman in their middle age sit on a sofa and they're talking quietly to one another. And then they look up and you can see that they're like beckoning somebody. And of course, this is from Marcus's point of view. So he doesn't know what they were saying, but he knows that but then you see a boy walk in. He can't be more than 8 or 9. And he's in footy pajamas. And he comes in and he looks at the tree and he looks at the presents and he gets his wide-eyed and he throws himself at the presents, and the parents are kind of like laughing and they're directing him as he's opening presents, and he's tearing the wrapping paper and he pulls out an action figure and he pulls out a soccer ball and he's excited and happy. And then he opens one box and inside it is another box about this big. And it's a gold box and it's got a video game title on it. It's Voyagers of Heroia. And he stops and his mouth drops and he looks at them and they're like, huh? And he goes, but, and then they point and he opens the next box and it's the video game console that you would use to play that. And he's over the moon. He scoops it up, leaves the rest of the presents and his parents behind, and runs up to his room and spends the whole morning plugging this thing in. And he's like, just totally absorbed in this game, right? You see him playing it. He sets it down. He picks up a clearly well read through magazine, Wanderer magazine, in fact, and you see that picture of the cover of the video game on the cover. It's like a hand-painted version of the cover on the art of the magazine, and he's reading through it, and there's like the guide and stuff. He sets it down, and then he plays some more. And you see he's choosing his favorite lineup. You see that you choose the characters, and like one is like Lorelei, it's this green-skinned, pointy-eared person, and Kerbash is this small little person, and Raymond, who's the big knight with the spiky helmet and the big hammer, and they're playing and they're fighting the god of death and all of this sort of stuff, and he's just so excited, and that's the memory you see, is him being grateful to his parents for giving him the thing he always wanted.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. I'm gonna let Tempest is stepping back and kind of like writing notes and everything, and like handing them to Barb. Like good childhood, loves parents, very grateful, supportive, all the like I'm writing all these notes that might help her continue this interview. As I'm like, okay.
Do you write the name of the video game at all?
Yes, Voyager of Heroia.
Heroia,
Yeah, I can't say it. I've also written down Wanderer magazine. His favorite lineup is Lorelei, Corbash, and Raymond. And like I give those details of like him spending all Christmas morning setting it up and stuff like that. And I'm like, these should help HR or these should help the hotline. So I'm like, I close my when I close my timepiece, my eye goes blind again. And I tuck it in my pocket, and I'm smiling and nodding. It's like, okay.
And I turn to him and I go, that must have just been so wonderful. I bet you had a lot of fun playing games. Did you ever play, what was that one game that everybody loved back then? Voyagers of Heroia. Did you ever play that one?
Wow, I haven't thought about that in forever. I used to be obsessed with that game. It was like all I thought about for years. I had all the guides. I reread the manual 100 times. I listened to the soundtrack. Oh, especially like the lo-fi BitTune remix. Those are really hot. And I still remember I had my favorite lineup. And if you beat the game, you got the big bad evil guy joined your party for the second playthrough. It was pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah. Gosh, I haven't thought about that in a while.
Yeah, my favorite lineup playing that game, because I'm a fan of retro games, was like I liked my lead being Lorelei, and then like Corbash, and the best follow-up after that would be Raymond.
Raymond, of course. Yeah, right. I mean, look, I know that some of the guides were recommending other and he just goes on, like he goes down the nerd rabbit hole on this video game for a little while, and you get this, and from the little nerding, you get the vibe, and of course, you saw this, when you use your timepiece power, Tempest, you saw like what this game was about. It's a fantasy RPG, right? And where you are medieval, you take a little team of medieval warriors, think like turn-based combat, and you talk to NPCs to get quests and so on. And while he's getting nerding out about it, all of a sudden, Zelda and Daisha, you have just walked out of the office, and the TV starts going on the fritz behind you, and old man Granite is smacking, and he's like, "What the? Oh, not this again!" And it starts playing really loud 8-bit video game music. And so then back with Marcus, he's like, I bet my old cartridge is still in my parents' house. My bedroom when I was a kid used to be up in the attic of the farmhouse. I had to put my name in as Marky. The field only let you have 5 characters. Yeah, I wish I could go
Did you
back.
do that with a Y or an I? How do you abbreviate that?
It was a Y. It was like a nickname my parents called me when I was little.
Oh,
I
that's
didn't.
so sweet.
Yeah, I wish I could go. If I could go, if they'd let me investigate the house, I'd see if I could find it. But the police set up a checkpoint, so I can't enter. They said it was for they didn't want to. I don't know. They keep calling it a crime scene. I wish they wouldn't call it that. Nobody's been hurt, as far as I can tell. They just left, maybe. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
like I
they
said,
could
they'd
be on
seen some.
vacation.
They might be. I mean, look. Yeah, they'd reported seeing weird stuff, but they watch that one news channel, so sometimes they get some strange ideas. And they report seeing odd things in people, and talk about people dressing all weird. And I just assumed they were talking about like kids or whatever. I just assumed they're getting paranoid and fearful in their old age, but I don't know. Maybe when they kept talking about seeing things in their fields, it was for real. I'm worried. I mean, my dad had his guns, but I don't know. Hey, if you're if you're investigating, are you going to the house? Will you let me know what you find? I'd love to see it for myself.
We will do our absolute best to try to find this out for you. And if we're able, we'll see about letting you get into the house, but we'll have to get approval for it.
Okay. I mean, okay. Do I need to come with you and tell the police that it's okay for you?
We'll be able to handle it on our side.
Okay. All right. Well, does that mean you'd like me to stay here?
I think that would be best.
Okay.
What room are you in?
I'm here in room 6.
Room 6. We'll take a note of that, and we'll be sure to come back and let you know.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Wow. I haven't thought about that game in forever. How weird.
I'm gonna as we're like wrapping up, I'm going to like put a hand on his shoulder and like just let him know. It's like, hey, whatever we find out about your parents, you'll be the first to know, okay?
Thanks. I really appreciate that. And
You go get some rest and something to eat now.
Oh, yeah. I guess I should. And then he turns and he goes back into his motel room and closes the door.
As soon as the door closes, I turn and start walking back to the van going shit under my breath. And I pull my phone out and start scrolling through the texts from Mag because I remember seeing the name of the video game in her texts. And I start scrolling through to see if anything jumps out at me.
So apparently it's like an anniversary of this video game. Being released, and so they're doing a big like retrospective in the video game in the video game world, and because this was like a pivotal video game that people claim was like the first real RPG, and this is what she's telling you, and it was the first video game cartridge to have a memory card inside it to save your game, right? So there was a tiny battery inside the cartridge so that when you turn the machine off, it would save your save file. And that had never been in any video game before. Side note, that's actually true of Legend of Zelda, FYI. Sorry.
That's why I was smiling.
Yeah, I am a little video game nerddom. So that's what, and yeah, and so yeah, and so that's what, and she said, and people have been like, I don't know. It's like it's captured the zeitgeist or something, she says, your friend. And so all just like people are becoming weirdly obsessed with this video game on the internet and making 6-hour-long video essays on it and stuff, which is a little intense.
As we're going back to the van, like I put my headset back on but like there's no music playing, it's just a comfort thing, and like one of them's off my ear, and I'm just sitting there like, so yeah, that game, some like that with the 30th anniversary and whatever, that game came to life and like murked this dude's parents. I'm so sorry, but that's what happened.
So yeah, you're in the van. You have some possible locations you can visit. Number one, you could go to the laundromat and talk to Deb, the vegetarian communist who's been abducted by aliens, according to Mr. Granite. You could go to the house, the Marcus's parents' house, the Heil house, the farmhouse that is allegedly be kind of closed off by the police, but you assume in the past you have had no particular trouble getting kind of jurisdiction. Normally, what happens is the Triangle Agency has somehow, through whatever channels it uses, communicated to the local authorities to expect another agency to arrive. But that also, if it didn't work, then that would be a time when you could invoke the power of the Triangle Agency to change reality to your liking. Side note, speaking of reality, and that awful thing out there outside of our game that encroaches every once in a while on us, how are we doing on time tonight? Did we plan on going for how much longer?
Don't.
Well, if we're gonna go much long, I actually just messaged you. I messaged you in the off stream chat.
Yeah, that would be a good time.
Well, yeah, if we're it's been almost 2 hours, so
Yeah.
this would be a good time to take a 5-minute break. And then generally our streams are going to go about 2 to 3 hours, depending on what the what the session is and that kind of stuff. So it could be a little less than 2 hours, could be a little bit more than 2 hours. So I'm gonna kind of leave it up to the GM, Gwen, our general manager, in terms of that. And if there's any of the players that have a specific thing and you want to just message in our private chat, that's fine too. But yeah, we're planning on doing the 2 to 3 hours. So.
Okay, well then how about this? Let me see what I want to do.
We are playing again next week too, so if this seems like a good time to break, then we could break. If we're gonna solve it in 5 more minutes because we're gonna roll on up to the farmhouse and say, yep, press that button to enter in that code for that dude's name, and then we'll do that. You are the GM. You have to decide.
Right. So I think I would like to stop at about 15 minutes. I think that's about how much more time we'll get to where a good breaking point would be. I just want to check in with people.
That might be enough time to do the interview with the commie.
If we head that way, yeah.
Oh, you mean the vegetarian?
Right.
Vegetarian commie.
Correct.
It gives us about enough time to talk to her.
That's a thing you could do.
Those are such extreme on the spectrum right there.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So there's talk to go to the laundromat because of the what Mr. Granite said at the motel, or go to the house. There, wander around town and talk to people. I mean, whatever you'd like to do.
Tempest is going to vote to go just straight to the house because they are very, very curious about this game and to see if they're right. They just threw out a theory like that and wanted to see it. They throw things against the wall and see if it sticks. Okay.
We're doing this in the van. We've all climbed into the van now. Like this is typical. Yeah.
I would like to go to the house. I have an idea. I mean, I want to see if I'm right, honestly, at this point. Because from what I've seen, that guy had the happiest childhood. And he didn't do it. So or if he did, it wasn't intentional. Between the 30th anniversary of this stuff and all of the other things, I think we should just go to the house. I think that's my pitch.
There was talk of characters or people in cosplay running around and ancient anvils and things like that. So it does sound like there's a little something's running loose.
Yeah.
And if there's a way to bring video games to life, do you know how much money we could make?
The agency's never going to allow that, first of all.
There's so many loose ends happening here right now. I have a suggestion. I feel like the laundromat chat would be very, very quick to see if they have any indication on where these alien abductions were last seen, because that could be some of the loose ends that we need to take care of. So I would.
Fair enough. Between alien abductions and whatever Hellmouth Nexus thing that happened at this people's farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we've got something like consensus. So you're driving in your van, and as he said, it's a block away. So you get in the van, you drive 100 yards, and you get out of the van. We live in LA now, apparently. And so
I turned to Krista really quick. How you hanging in there? Everything okay?
This is all very new. Zelda, we're going to have a conversation later. Yes. And
that sounds good.
It's wild.
Yeah. You haven't even had any goo all over you yet.
Yeah. Oh, and something that they know, but you don't know yet. If you hear me yell left, right, front, or back, then know that that's going to become the floor really fast. So like, get yourself ready. So whatever direction I yell, know that that's going to become the floor really fast.
Also, if you're experiencing any deja vu, it's just a side effect of knowing me. Just go with it, okay?
Yeah. I was like, no, this happened. Did this happen? Oh, yeah. It was Tempest.
Tempest again. Yeah.
I think Tempest does a lot of it, just for fun.
Goes back 3 seconds. Say that again.
I think Tempest does a lot of it just for fun. Damn it.
Yep. There it is. There it is.
Good.
So
let's go talk to this Debbie that maybe got probed and is a communist.
The van stops, and you've got.
We'll talk later.
Yeah, you've got the laundromat, and it is just an old-fashioned laundromat, single room with machines on each side, and just like a coin op thing. There's like a change maker in the back, and there's just an old woman sitting in there watching the television. Actually, she's standing up and messing with the television. And as you look up, as you walk in, you can see that it looks like it's all pixelated, and it is in fact Love Connection, and there's these various contestants, but they're all like blocky and pixelated, like an 8-bit video game or a Minecraft or something. And she's like, "What's wrong with the reception?" And she turns around and she goes, "Oh, that machine's broken. That one's got a weird smell. Change machines in back."
Oh, are you Debbie?
I better be. Why? Who are you? Who are you? She realizes she doesn't recognize you.
Everybody's told us about Debbie.
Oh yeah. What'd they say?
Yeah, your neighbor across the way said you have a penchant for vegetables.
Are you talking about Granite?
Yes.
It gets under his skin that I'm a vegetarian. I don't even know why. I know all he wants to eat is meat.
He also said you were probed by aliens.
He's not supposed to tell other people about that. I told him that in an intimate moment.
Okay, well.
Shannon reacted pretty strongly, but Zelda did not have any reaction at all. Just so clear.
Tempest had Tempest had Shannon's reaction.
Yeah. I was like, oh, well, okay. Intimate moment.
She reaches for her timepiece, and is like, "Do I? I don't actually want to see that. We're gonna put that back."
Was
Oh,
was it here? And I kind of look around.
Wait, what? Are you asking me
No,
about
no.
my intimate moment?
no.
That's not appropriate.
No. Did you get? Did you get? Has this been a hot spot?
For intimate moments? I don't know what you think kind of town this is. Oh, you mean alien abductions? Oh.
Yeah.
I do indeed.
Well, I don't know. All I know is that when I was on my way home, I saw some lights in the woods, and I went and looked, and it was some kind of green alien. And then they came at me with their weird instruments, and I ran and I fell. And when I woke up, I just felt all weird. And then I had to go home and tell somebody about it. And he happened to be over that night. And, well, I shouldn't have told him because he won't let it lie.
How long ago was this?
That was it was just last week. I'm just waiting for some sort of weird side effect to happen. It hasn't happened yet, but it's gonna, I bet.
Oh.
Yeah.
The TV always been like that?
I don't know what that's about. I guess we got a bad reception. She goes up and she smacks it again, and then it kind of bzzz, and it looks back to normal.
Could you give us more details? And I'm going to bring out a notebook and my timepiece. Could you give us more details about this abduction?
Yeah, okay. So I was driving home, right? And I was driving over by that Hyle farm that's all been up into trouble lately.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw lights in the woods. Something shining, running around. So I said, what is that? Is them some kids getting up into trouble? So I stopped my truck and I got out and I walked only about 30 feet into them woods, and there was a green-skinned alien there. And they had pink space armor on, and they had some sort of shining silver instrument.
Can I start humming the X-Files theme and activate my remember when to see what this woman's doing? I will also make a note, because I'm a good player, that since I'm doing the same trick twice, I went against my prime demerit or my prime directive, and I receive a demerit.
All right. Well, 3 commendations and a demerit isn't the worst, but so yes. Roll the D4s. Let's see how you do. Will you?
Let's make it go again. Oh, I got 2 this time. Dang it.
Okay. And just so everyone understands, that means you got 2 and 4 chaos is generated.
Yeah. You're yep.
Just saying, just for instance. So what would I want to do?
Doing my best.
I almost while you're humming X-Files, I almost want to conjure up a MIB looking flash thing just to go along with the whole you're about to tell us something crazy and we're in.
So here's what she says. You don't get the perfect detail scene, but what you do get is she starts talking, and she's like, it was the strangest thing. She says, I was there in the woods, and I was walking, looking for them kids causing trouble. And then this lean, lanky, green-skinned woman with big pointy ears and a ponytail and pink leather armor. She had a big silver spear at her side. She came at me and she spoke, and she said something about the wooded way guiding me. And I knew that meant back to her ship. Had to make it. What else would it mean? And she held up some sort of weird green boxy thing, and I ran. And then I think I tripped. Oh, I don't know. My head hurts, though. I don't know what else happened after that, but I know they must have done something to me, because I woke up with the biggest headache.
I When she gets her headache, I'm going to snap my pocket watch closed. My eye is gonna go back to being blind. I didn't see anything, but it does light up when I
Are using
use
your
my
powers?
anomaly. Yeah, when I use my anomaly, so I'm gonna snap that closed and kind of blink that away, because when she got her impact, it kind of like shocked me. I was like, okay.
Yep. And she's reaching down. She's got like a Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi or Diet Cola or Diet non-name brand item that she's drinking.
Not
And
until we have sponsors.
right, contact the High XP Society, please. Corporate.
Yes.
Triangle
For
Agency
sponsors, press
approved.
1.
That's right. And as she's taking a sip, and as she sets it down, it goes bzz, 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 and then it switches to a pixelated flagon of mead with the foamy, frothy top, and slams down and kind of sloshes out again, entirely like 8-bit. So there's now a 3-dimensional 8-bit pixelated, like medieval flagon of mead sitting there on the counter, and it just every once in a while it kind of glitches a little bit. Bzz, bzz, bzz.
Can I? That's gonna alarm her, but we need that information. Can I use my anomaly to distract her and say, "Oh, your can rolled over there," and make a can of cola show up?
Yeah.
So we can bag whatever this is.
So the catalog power you're going to be using is what's that over there?
Mhm.
Or are you going to do what? You'll tell me.
Well, yeah, it's let me go
Yep.
back to that. So
It says on a success, you create an object where you're pointing at any mundane thing you can imagine.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so you need to roll attentiveness. And I'm mentioning the stat because if you want to, so for example, Tempest or Casper, I could have said this and I apologize. You rolled with empathy and you got 2. If you had wanted to spend one of your quality assurances in empathy, if you have one, you could have raised it to 3. Now that doesn't count as a transcendence. You only get those when you roll the dice, but that would have prevented me from getting that chaos. And by the way, I just spent 2 chaos to create this glitching anomaly that, yes, is now a loose end that you would have to deal with. So Daisha, go ahead and roll attentiveness. And if you have any quality assurances for attentiveness, those are, you can change a failure into a success on a single die.
what you get. These. All right, we'll see. So 6 of these. Please. Righty. Well. Okay. Well, so we've got 1 3.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we got. I've got but I can turn. So, and just correct me if I'm wrong. I can use some points from my attentiveness to make less chaos.
Yeah. So what you would be doing is there's something special about the 3. If you roll 3 3s, then it creates 0 chaos.
Right.
You get 3 successes and 0 chaos. Now it's kind of strange to think about this, but if you got 4 successes, you'd be creating 2 chaos. It's the magic of 3s. It's the triangle agency after all. It's not the square agency. The triangle, 3 sides. It's magic. So, if so, the catalog ability with just 1 success, you create the object. So that is a success. It doesn't do anything fancy.
Yeah, but there's that can is over there. Oh, it's strapped that way,
and you are successful.
And then someone else can maybe grab the.
I'm gonna grab the 8-bit, throw it in my briefcase.
Yeah, you've got it's you can feel it almost like when it glitches, it feels vibrating in your hand. It feels like this is wrong. It's actually quite disturbing to touch. So you grab that, put it in your briefcase, and Deb is distracted and goes and gets this can of Coke. It's a can of Coke.
Yeah,
and she our can of soda, diet soda, and she's like, "Oh, all right." She sips it and drinks it and acts like it is the thing. It's the mundane thing. Yeah. So congratulations, you've done that. Right. And she says she seems distracted by the soda and her TV show, and she says, "You go ahead, go ahead and do your laundry if you need to."
I think we'll probably come on back later. We might take a walk in the woods.
She goes, all right. And, she's slamming the thing again because it's going pixelated. It's playing weird video game music occasionally. She's getting annoyed again.
Well, I'm going to head on out the door.
So you walk out the door. Yes, something, Krista?
Oh, no, I was just saying that I follow.
Okay, cool. So you walk out and you're near the end of the downtown's only 2 or 3 blocks, and you can see farm and some woods, and based on what you'd been told, that the Heil house is just down the road a piece, not far. So do you want to walk or do you want to drive over there? Or do you want to just
since we drove this 1 block here, we might as well keep driving.
Okay.
Daisha's like, all right. I'm tired.
I want to try though. Let me try.
Nope, absolutely not. You know what?
Not today.
I'm pretty sure that you hit those cows because you don't have depth perception, and I'm sorry about that, but no.
And it's a short drive, so no dark shadows.
And in fact, as the argument reaches this point, you turn a corner and you can see that there's a farmhouse about, quarter mile up the road, but there's a cop car blocking the road with 2 deputies kind of leaning there, and they look
Let's
up.
go right to the woods. Go right to the woods where she was abducted.
Okay. Well, you can do that, but there's cops blocking the road in front of you. So what would you like to do? You could get out and wander off into the woods, but they'll see you do that.
Yeah. I mean, we could just talk to them. Flash the whatever.
Perhaps this is my job.
Yeah.
Or that.
If you want to go distract them, I can
slide out of the van and walk up to the cop car in my most friendly, perky manner.
All right, so I'll describe what Mora sees first, and then we'll go to you all slinking into the wood. So the rest of you decide which of the 2 scenes you want to be in.
Krista's going to go with the with Mora.
Zelda.
So
yeah.
So Krista and Mora are going to talk to the police, and then we've got Zelda. And what about Tempest and Daisha?
I guess I'm going with Daisha and them only because I'm like, I just want to get to the house right now. Is the back way to the house?
So we'll go with Mora and Krista. You approach, these 2 police officers are standing here. They're leaning against the hood of their vehicle. They seem to be kind of annoyed to be there. One is a short, stout young woman in the standard issue deputy uniform. The other is a middle-aged, scrawny man. And he's got like a department issued shirt, but he's just kind of wearing jeans, and he's got like a tool belt on. And he has a badge with no name. The other one has a badge with a little name under it. It says Vendor. And she says, who are you supposed to be?
Hi, we've been sent to look into things that are happening here. You were probably expecting us. I'm sure you've been waiting a long time.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see agents showing up. I was told that another jurisdiction might be picking this one up soon. I will need to see some official paperwork, or I'll need to hear from the sheriff before I let you onto the property, though. You know how it goes.
Of course, we always know how it goes. It's always the same every time, isn't it?
Yeah, we didn't want this job today. But this is what we get for I think we're getting blamed for the meth lab explosion. It wasn't our
Ooh.
faults. And the other guy says, yeah, I had nothing to do with that.
That must have been hard.
I mean, yeah, this thing blew all to hell.
My goodness.
Yeah,
And
it
you
wasn't
guys
our
took the
fault.
blame for it? They
Yeah,
blamed you?
Well, we were on patrol when it happened and I don't know, they thought we should have known about it. I mean, yeah, we had visited the house earlier that night and should have smelled the fumes, I guess, or something, but I don't know. So now they got us doing this duty, standing here blocking a road. I mean, this is, so how about that paperwork?
Of course. Perhaps why don't you give the sheriff a call and see if he's got the authorization already?
All right, very well. And she reaches in and as a proposal, a meta out of character proposal here. This would be one of those times when, should you wish to, you could say, I'm going to have it so that.
Yeah, I was actually about to say I'm going to go ahead and invoke the agency's intervention here.
So here's how this works. You get to decide how which ability of your 9 abilities you think is appropriate here. So, for example, it seems like you are trying to. You might say, like, let me see, I guess that would be trying to find the list of the 9 abilities here. They are, I just don't have them in front of me. Where are they? There.
We've got,
professionalism, perhaps?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe professionalism.
Okay. And this matters because when you roll your dice, that's the pool you can draw from if you wish to spend quality assurances. Okay. So go ahead and roll those 64s and let's see how effective it is.
2.
All right. So you are using the Ask the Agency ability. You only need 1 success, but it does generate the chaos. So if you do spend 1 quality assurance, you would get 3 successes and no chaos if you wanted to do that. Or you could save those and spend them for later. Which
I'm going to save them.
Okay.
Because I think having chaos right now is going to help give us clues. So I'm going to let that happen.
So here's how it works when you ask the agency. You are making what is called a reality alteration request. You ask the agency to ensure that something happens. Mm-hmm. The effect you want to occur is what?
For the sheriff to basically tell them, of course, they've already gotten approval to go through. Make sure that they all get to go through.
Now, in order to do that, you have to come up with what's called the causality chain. In other words, how did it come to be? And it can be, just to give you some examples, it can be something absolutely like far-fetched, but within the realm of possibility, like a government email saying, give the agents what they need, got sent to the wrong email address, or, or the sheriff is on hallucinogenic drugs and imagined it, like anything you want, as far-fetched or as reasonable. Ideally, they'll recognize that the causality chain is you are actually establishing events in reality. And there are things that we can play with later or that could come, be invoked by me at some later point. So.
Okay, so the sheriff was on the phone with his wife, and he had an incoming call.
Okay.
And he hung up with his wife and took the call. And it was a voice on the other end that sounded very, very official.
Yes.
And that voice said that the investigation is moving forward. The agents will be here soon. Let them all in and let them do what they need to do.
All right. And it was official enough that he allowed it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It was so official sounding that he didn't ask who the person was.
All right, I gotcha. So just since we're talking about this part of the game rule, just so you know, so that'll work, I think. So in what you can't do is interfere with this power with people's choices to change what
right.
they like, to do something they wouldn't normally do.
Right.
But in this case, this is something that they might do because he was expecting this call.
Mm-hmm.
He was expecting the FBI to show up anytime. So in that case, it works. He was also distracted with the phone call with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And so he when the deputy goes over and picks up the radio, hey, Sheriff, we got some agents here. They said they had your permission to enter the property. And you hear, oh, yeah, go ahead, let him in, over the thing. And so she turns and she goes, this is the agent that was listed as Van de Vender, rather. And she says, yeah, you can go ahead in. Let me show you here. And she kind of like gives you like the official wave. She, all right, come on in. We can go right over here. And you kind of she walks around to the car and she says, now, listen, we did an initial sweep of the property after the instigating call. And that property, by the way, like the line goes from here, and she's pointing out, like you can see, like there's a kind of a delineated cornfield, and it's quite, it's a sizable little cornfield that surrounds, and in the center of it is this farmhouse. There's a little gravel road that leads up to it. And we put out a press release yesterday, and so I'm sure you can. You've already been given that by the agency, and she can summarize it, and it's just what you've already been told. Missing,
Mm-hmm.
The gunshots, signs of a struggle,
Mm-hmm.
and she says, so just to be clear, she says, you do now have permission to be in this area, but don't be crossing those fence lines. All right. That's other people's property and you don't have permission to do that. And, that's my job here, is to make sure that property line is respected.
Understood. Thank you for doing such a wonderful job.
Well, it's a strange case, right? I looked into it, couldn't find anything of interest. There was one peculiarity that my boss, the sheriff, insisted was grounds for bringing in you folks, but I think we could have cracked it eventually. I mean, how hard is it to open a door? We would have been able to figure out a way to get through it.
Which thing was it that stood out to you?
You see, now way I figure it, right? And then she gives this weird and kind of Byzantine theory about how somebody must have broken in, there was a fight, and then they cleaned up the bodies by dissolving them in acid. Because that's why you can't find the bodies. I mean, I'm guessing that door, that locked door upstairs, that's maybe the bodies are behind that. That's my guess. I mean, it was kind of weird, though. There was no handles. We tried to break it down. I don't know. It must be one of those like safe room doors or something.
Was that one of the door heading up to the attic?
Yeah, it sure was. Had these weird three, like, I don't know what they were, like geometric shapes on the front, where like you were supposed to put something in. I never seen nothing like that.
Fascinating.
One was a square. One was like, what's that thing with 5 sides?
It's an X.
And then one was an X. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Or circle. Yeah. And so, I don't know.
Well, if that pans out, I'll make sure that you get full credit for it.
Well, I'd like to think the sheriff would recognize my merit, but okay, I do appreciate that. That's Van de Vender, not Van de Velder. Okay.
Van de Vender.
Yeah.
Got it.
And a vendor.
Meanwhile, Zelda and Tempest and Daisha, you are prowling through the woods. And you're just kind of curving around towards where the farmhouse is. you're in some corn and you find yourself in cornfields. The dirt rows between the corn is dry and lumpy, but it's walkable. As you're walking, you hear a sound 1 or 2 corn rows over, but you can't really see it because the corn is, it's over your head, right? It's about 5 or 6 feet tall. And it's thick enough that you can't see clearly through it. You can only really easily see down your row. And as you look over, when you stop walking, you hear the noise, and then the noise stops, as if somebody has stopped. And then when you walk a little further, they start making a noise again. They're following you. And when you look up, you see the head of a silver spear bouncing along, as if somebody's holding it while walking.
Can I reenact what I saw little homeboy playing on the game as the like halt, who goes there kind of vibe of the video game, but just remembering the dialogue?
So you invoke a line of dialogue from this video game, and then all of a sudden the noise stops, and then there's a rustling, and then exploding out of the corn in front of you is a lean and lanky woman, tall, with green skin, white blonde hair pulled back into a long ponytail, pink leather armor, and she goes, and it's a collapsible silver shining spear. She looks something like a fantasy elf and an orc. And you remember, Tempest, from the video game, that in Heroia, those are called elvorcs. And so this is a Heroia elvorc, an expert ranger capable of tracking and hunting every beast in Heroia with ease. And the music starts to play, actually. You hear it around you. And she carries on her chest a circle with a green emerald tree on it, the forest crest. And you can immediately recognize, all of you, that this is an anomaly in front of you. And she stands there and she holds her spear across her and she says, "I am Lorelei, Elvorc, princess of the wooded way. I do not wish to harm you unless I must. I am searching this place for the grand hero. Do you know the way to him?"
I do, and I drop my briefcase on the ground and I fling it open. He ran in there.
Is this a normal briefcase?
It is my briefcase that I am to trap anomalies in.
Yeah, so the
Perfectly
normal briefcase.
A
A
That's
perfectly
right.
normal briefcase.
Correct. Yep.
She looks in
absolutely.
there and she says, "Marky is in there, the grand hero? Do you know him? I must get him to help us save our world. It's dying."
I saw him run this way not a moment before.
She's kind of jabbing at the thing with her spear. She goes, "This does not look like a place the grand hero would hide. The grand hero has no need for hiding."
He is not
Oh,
hiding.
interesting.
He is exploring. He is on a
Yes.
quest in this
He was looking
portal.
for you.
Does he not understand that the grand hero's work is unraveling? More and more of our world is being forgotten and disappearing, losing its energy, its power to persist. First it was small changes, but now whole lands are disappearing into the darkness.
I
I
think
will
that's
not
why
let
he
my
went in.
world die. All right. Are you going to invoke an anomaly here? Or are you just hoping to be that persuasive?
I was hoping to be that persuasive. I was going to invoke an anomaly, but then I didn't need to do what I was going to have to do. So I was like, you know what? She's looking for something. I'm just going to give her a direction.
She
Just to
pokes
go.
at it, but she is not immediately convinced that you have not. She is what's called speaking in mechanical terms, a minor anomaly, and she's not just willing to end her existence, basically, by stepping into the briefcase, or, if you will, give up her quest. Is actually what she would be doing, because that's like stepping into a jail cell, basically.
Sure. I don't know. I rolled 4.
Okay.
So I don't
So-
know.
Oh,
if that-
what are you invoking? Are you channeling the Triangle Agency's reality alteration, or are you using one of your anomalies?
So I was going to use, where did it go? I had it right there. My initial requisition expense account,
Okay.
which is an enormous account ledger that is rumored to contain every purchase made in the history of mankind. Once each mission, you may write that the agency has acquired something specific in the ledger, and it becomes agency property. You may use it during this mission, but the agency makes decisions about it going forward.
Okay. And what is it that you are writing in the ledger?
So I'm assuming that Tempest has explained to us about this video game and this whole, story of everything else that's in there. So I would like to utilize the same like staff that the one that she's seeking, the same staff that he would be holding, and have it so that it is sticking up inside the briefcase, just sticking up at the top, like he's stuck and she's got to go in and get him.
Okay. So the Grand Hero's magic staff, the head
Yes,
of it
that is
now.
Thank you for using words.
Yeah,
I am done with the words at this time of night.
So what happens then is she looks down. She sees the we are about to wrap. She sees the staff and she says, "The Grand Hero. It is Marky. I will not. I must go to him. I must get him to save our world." She looks at you and she says, "Thank you, friends. Here, take this. It's dangerous to go alone." And she hands you, she pulls the crest off of her chest and she hands you this green gem-like chest. And as you take it, it kind of pixelates and you realize that it's a pixelated crest. And she steps into the briefcase and there is a strange whirl as though she's been, and the briefcase slams shut on her. And you now hold the circular forest crest, and you have rendered safe one of the minor anomalies here, Lorelei, the Elvork Wooded Way warrior. And
and as this Lorelei goes away and goes in there, I'm going to reach into my pocket and I'm going to pull out a little bit of caviar, put it on a cracker, just have a little snack, and then I'm going to offer to anyone else if they would like any caviar.
I don't eat.
Zelda, we're not done. We're not even done here. It's not even caviar time.
Celebrate.
Like why do you just
you have to celebrate all of them
every time?
Is this like a CEO perk?
It is indeed a finer thing, CEO perk.
It is very much a CEO commendation, is enjoying the finer things. And on that note, the camera pulls back and shows that you can now see, the audience can see the whole of the Kyle property. You're in, there's the farmhouse, and on the left, you see a barn. And on the right, you see a grain silo. And in front of the barn, you see a figure in red armor with horns carrying a giant hammer, walking around looking like he's on the hunt. And in front of the farmhouse, the grain silo, you see a small green banded male warrior carrying a fine curved blade, and it is a woman, and she has a yellow crest on her chest, very much like the one that you just received. And then the farmhouse glitches, and it starts to transform into a pixelated medieval castle. And and on that note, that's the end of today's session.
Of course.
So let's go ahead and go around and remind everybody where they can find you, and then we'll wrap. Let's go with Krista first this time, or shall I say Winnie?
Hi, I'm Winnie. You can find me at Winnie Writes on Blue Sky. If you just look that up, I should be on there. And otherwise, you just find me on the internet where you can. Oh.
How about you, Shannon?
I was doing tags, so I was muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wanna-
No, it's all good. So I am Shannon. I am Imaginif pretty much all over the internet. I am AGINIF. I also have Imaginif Media on Twitch and YouTube, and you can catch me over there doing Creator Spotlight. So if you're a creator doing all kinds of cool things, I do have a little form in my link in bio kind of deal, and you can submit, be on the show. We talk about cool stuff. We hang, we chill. I also co-host Challenge Accepted with Casper, and we talk game design and get into all kinds of fun stuff in there. You can find me playing Raven over on Don't Kill My Characters over on Twitch as well, which is a Mutants and Mastermind series, which is super fun too. So I definitely suggest you go check them out. And yeah, I'm all over the place. So, and I want to do a quick shout out for Phoebe for doing the tech.
Yay,
amazing
Phoebe.
all night long.
Way to go, Phoebe.
It was incredible. I appreciate you so much. And Gwen for saying, yes, sure, I'll GM this system that I have absolutely no idea about what it's about. And also it's super cool and complex. It has all these fun things. So thank you for jumping in on that.
Sure, it's no problem. It was fun. And Casper, do you want to shout out?
Osio. My name is Casper the MB Ghost. That is DAMB Ghost. You can find me on Blue Sky and Instagram and TikTok, and that's it. Oh yeah, Twitch. Oh, I'm on itch too because I write. I haunt the internet on any channel that permits me. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got. I'm on Challenge Accepted. I'm here. I think on Wanderer's Haven for a little bit. I'm everywhere.
They're everywhere. Jessiye?
Let's see. You can find me Blue Sky, other places. I'm not super active talking on socials, but I think I'm Jessiye D just about everywhere. Or Jessiye. I don't know.
Awesome.
I'm also this weekend I'll be at GaryCon with Tabletop Gamers. I'm on the board Tabletop Gamers, so stop if you're out there in Lake Geneva, stop by our table, get your pronoun ribbons and your gamer and ally ribbons, and come say hi.
Yay. And that leaves, last but definitely not least, Mora, or if you prefer.
You can find me. I am on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads. All of them as Barb Bond VO, and also barbbond.com. And you can also find the High XP Society in those places as High XP Society.
Yay. Thanks, Barb. And I'm Gwen, Dr. Gwen Marshall on most of the socials. And this has been High XP Society running Triangle Agency from Haunted Table Games. Thank you very much, everyone. Next week.
Okay. Thanks, y'all.